Beautiful. Okay. Here we go. So last time we connected, we talked through um where we're headed. We started with understanding what fat loss is, understanding your metabolism, really grounding in your mindset. We've done that for a while. I'll continually ask you about why you're here and continually reiterate why it's so hard for us to follow the plan sometimes. We talked about some of the major reasons why it's difficult to follow plans, being emotional barriers, typically number one, and social and environmental influences being number two. Setting up your environment for success and learning how to control your stress responses are the two biggest things that you could probably be working on right now that will help you have better success and outcomes. We're going to talk about getting better success and outcomes on today. The last time we connected, though, we talked about calories and energy. We created this kind of example of a house, and we said that protein is the building block of your house, right? Like protein builds the house, and then we have fats, which kind of keep the house together. If you think about the bricks, fats are the glue in between. And so in terms of your fats, right, like your fats control your hormonal responses, your fats control your stress responses. So keeping your fats at the recommended level that you need based on your body weight, super important. Fats are super important. And then we had carbohydrates. And carbs are really just like the amount of stuff in your house. And we said we really don't want like stuff really piling up around the house. Like we know we need things, but do we need more things? And so we talked about the role of carbohydrates and how important it is to ensure that you're eating enough carbohydrates for your daily activity levels, but not so much carbohydrates that they end up in the storage, right? We want to use our carbohydrates. Protein is essential, fat is essential, fiber is essential, but additional carbohydrates are truly optional past what you need for your day. So we talked about that last time. Um, we also talked about like this inversion of the food pyramid where we've been taught, and I'm sure you've heard this before, we've been taught that like grains and breads and pastas and sugars and flours are what we need in terms of the base of our pyramid, but that's just not the case. We really want to center our nutrition in this middle part of the pyramid being mostly fiber and protein and veggies and fat. That's where we want. And so we asked, like, what do we need in terms of our nutrition? What does this need to look like? You need to eat protein and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, a little starch, and very little added sugar. Protein and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, very little sugar. That's what your nutrition needs to look like for general population health, okay? We talked about the beginner's plate. We talked about the rate of carbohydrates, which changes based on where you are in your health and wellness journey. And then we also started to talk through the beginner's plate portioning and what visualizing a beginner's plate looks like, right? What does a healthy plate look like? We said, okay, A plus plates have protein and fiber. A plates have protein, fiber, and whole food carbohydrate starches, whole starches, okay? I know that you are committed to a body composition or weight management goal if your plates look like this the majority of the time, okay? Sometimes, because you're human, you will also need to have plates that look like this, either because you're sharing meals with the family or you're going out to Mexican Cinco de Mayo, you turning up on Cinco de Mayo, or it's Mother's Day and you're going to have brunch and you're going to need to allow yourself to have the flexibility of having a meal that doesn't necessarily look like protein and fiber entirely, right? It starts to add some, maybe subtract some colors and add some more complex types of proteins and maybe some mixed ingredients. And so we talked about B, C, and D plates, and then we also talked about F plates, which we want to have, but not nearly as frequently as we have A and B style plates, okay? So we talked about carbohydrate, we talked about the nutrition strategy, we talked about keeping this balanced and inclusive. Before I dive into our next phase today, which is going to start talking about body recomposition, right? And setting up your body recomposition calendar, how to set goals around body recomposition, and how to set a calendar around body recomposition to know whether or not you're taking too long, okay? Before I dive into this stuff, do you have any questions about any of that other stuff, okay? The nutrition side. Check chat. Okay, cool. Seems like we're good there. Okay, so talking about the difference between weight loss and body recomposition. okay? Weight loss misses something. If you're just focused on dropping the number on the scale, you're missing the big picture here. We don't only care about dropping the number on the scale. To be completely honest, our objectives need not be just on the number on the scale. It needs to be also on building and retaining muscle mass, okay? Building and retaining muscle mass is so important. Hopefully you're starting to hear people talk more about this, but building and retaining your muscle mass is so important. One, for perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, okay? When we enter this window, you start to lose muscle at a rate of 8 to 10% per decade, which means that your risk of frailty and your risk of not being able to recover from a fall without medical intervention gets higher and higher and higher starting in the perimenopause window, okay? Losing estrogen and testosterone and strength and bone density and muscle mass is going to cost you. So recomposition, meaning I want to focus on building and retaining as much muscle mass as possible, is how we want to approach our fat loss attempt, not just moving the scale, because moving the scale moves the scale by any means necessary. We don't want that. We don't want to move the scale by any means. We want to lose fat and build and retain muscle and bone density, okay? Losing fat requires a different approach from just losing weight. Losing fat, right? If we think about this comparison here as like fat loss, FL, versus weight loss, WL. Weight loss says by any means necessary, just cut calories from every category. It doesn't even matter. Go vegan or juice cleanse or smoothie cleanse or water fast or whatever it is, right? Fat loss says I specifically want to focus on keeping a high protein diet because I understand that through something called muscle protein synthesis, I am telling my body to keep its muscle and bone. When you have a high protein diet, you tell your body to keep its muscle and bone, okay? With that, we also have a minimum amount of fat intake, which we talked about last time. We also have, on a fat loss phase, we have a minimum amount of resistance training, RT, minimum being something like 2 times per week, up to 4 times per week is the true sweet spot of resistance training. Stop growing and increasing difficulty, okay? Then on a fat loss phase, we're evaluating how our bodies are responding to the protein, to the fat, even to the moderate calorie deficit, okay? Deficit is not extreme. We find ourselves responding and reacting to the calorie deficit to make sure that we're getting what we want from the outcomes. On a weight loss phase, we don't care about how much protein you're getting, just lose weight. We don't care about your essential fats that your hormones and metabolism needs to work properly, or your brain needs to work properly, just lose weight, okay? On a fat loss phase, I'm really mad at doctors right now, right? I'm mad at doctors, specifically doctors who aren't telling you to resistance train, especially doctors who are introducing you to GLP-1 agonist drugs and medications and not telling you to eat a high protein diet and resistance train. They are accelerating this process. And we've seen the data, right? We've seen the data. I'm going on a tangent. I'll come back. We've seen the data from people taking these GLP-1 medications. The data says that if you do not eat enough protein and resistance training, you have accelerated your rate of muscle loss almost 50%, right? The majority of the weight that you've lost, if you've taken a GLP-1 without protein and resistance training, the majority of the weight that you've lost is your muscle, And like, we can tell when people have taken the medication and have done the right thing, doing this with protein and resistance training. They've done it correctly. You can also tell when they haven't. You can tell. So then, I'm mad at doctors right now because they're not sending you to me. They're not sending you to nutritionists and to personal trainers to help you do these things, right? Doctor just says, here's the medication, take this and you'll drop the weight. But they don't take these other long-term health issues into like, how do you solve this problem that we're creating? This is I'm on my tangent. I'm on my high horse here. How do we solve this problem that we're creating? And yes, we're solving weight loss. Yep, you will absolutely lose weight if you take a GLP-1. Absolutely. And you might break through plateaus that you haven't been able to based on your lifestyle in the past. Absolutely. However, 2 issues that we're creating with this. One is your reliance upon the drug forever. You will have to take the drug for the rest of your, I mean, they're telling us this, right? Our decision is to care, but they're telling us that you will have to take this for the rest of your life. So is that something that you're okay with? Question number one. And question number two is, you are causing irreversible damage to your body at 60 years old. When your metabolism has slowed down and will continue to slow over the rest of your life, right? Your metabolism has slowed. Your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterone has dropped, right? Without hormone replacement therapy or steroids, it's going to be really difficult for you to continue building muscle after 60. It's going to be hard, right? And now the doctor has stripped you of your muscle mass and made you more frail, made you more sick, right? So how do we resolve this issue, right? If what we thought was fixing weight loss is actually causing frailty and old age. You fixed your weight loss problem, but now you're old and frail and you've lost your strength and you fell at 62 and now you're in a nursing home. 62. Come on. That's so stupid. I'm so mad at doctors right now. I'll get off my high horse in just a second. I'm mad at the medical system. We're screwing women over, women specifically. This sucks. Nobody's telling the truth about this. Everybody's just on Ozempic. Everybody's just on it. Nobody's telling the truth about what this means. Not now. Like, yeah, I lost 30 pounds now, but what does this mean in 30 years? What does this mean in 30 years for my liver, for my pancreas? I mean, we can go down the line here. Nonetheless, I'll leave this alone. I'm mad at you or nobody else. I'm mad at your doctor. Okay. Then a calorie deficit. Weight loss says, I don't
Sorry,
want
not to cut you off. I actually saw some girl say that she had gotten a bone density scan after doing Ozempic and it was like total shit. I was like, damn, like it's already happening and she's like 30 something.
come on. I mean, for what? For what?
For the quick fix.
I get it. I get it. I
That's
understand.
all people worried about though. Like I need it to sustain forever though, you know?
I totally get it. And with the combination of practice of these lifestyle things that you need to learn. I've been talking to you all about your goals, right? Oh, I'm on a tangent and it's so bad right now. I'm not going to get through this. We've been talking about your goals, okay? And the culmination of you reaching your goals requires education, right? You need to learn some stuff, okay? Ozempic is not teaching you how to eat. You need to learn some stuff, okay? But then you also need some skills. You need to know how to, not just what. You need to know what and how, but how in varied circumstances, right? You need to know what to do when you're home over the weekend, or when your work schedule changed during the week, or when you're on vacation, or when you have family in town, or when it's time to go to Mother's Day brunch, or when it's time to go to a barbecue, or when you ran out of XYZ grocery and you need to find a different type of protein source, but they don't have it in the grocery store and you thought you placed your order, but you did. You need to have education and skills to not just reach, but keep your goals. Okay. This is where weight loss by any means necessary really frustrates me. And it really frustrates me when your doctors just give it to you, right? Like without the education and the skills. Okay. And this is where, again, personal trainers, nutritionists, dietitians, people who are adjacent to your medical team, right? You have your medical team, which is immediately responsive to the issue, right? Immediate care. But then you have preventative care. You have the preventative care side of this, which is nutritionists and dietitians and personal trainers and yoga instructors and all of us who are also working on your health, right? Adjacent to your health. You have these things that we're trying to give you, which is education and skills, okay? Weight loss cannot be centralized just on the goal. You have to ensure that people also have the it's like sending your college student, congratulations to those of you who are sending college students off, right? Sending your high school student into college with a credit card, no knowledge of how to use it, and no skills, right? dang, you are setting this 18-year-old up for some failure, for some struggle once they get on campus. It's going to be hard. I don't want to just send you to school. I need to send you to school with something to keep you afloat, with some education and some skills. Okay. All right. Hold on. I have another. Tracy. Sorry, but some doctors are great, but most are providing sick care, which equals job security. If you're educated and a self-advocate, then you get educated and fire the damn doctors, says a cancer thriver heading towards 60. Yes. Yes. You educate and advocate for yourself. I have a client, I hope she doesn't mind. I have a client named Gail who was worried about her cholesterol, right? She was very nervous about the cholesterol. Doctor's nervous about the cholesterol, just like cholesterol, we've got to get you on cholesterol medication, da 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 da. And so I'm like, okay, Gail, show me the blood work and then let's look at everything else. A1C is down, weight is down, triglycerides are down, blood pressure is healthy, muscle mass is up. And so I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, why is your doctor worried about the cholesterol? Why? Because based on your overall health markers, there is nothing else that indicates that your cholesterol has caused the problem in your body. Why are we picking on cholesterol? And I want you to go to your doctor the next time you go and you get your blood work. I want you to go to your doctor and ask your doctor, why did we pick on my cholesterol? Why do you want me on cholesterol medication? And what is this going to mean for all of my other health markers down the line? This is the game that we're playing. Weight loss versus fat loss is this long game. Okay, it's the long game. Anybody else want to add to this? I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna finish this today, but I had to get that out because I'm mad. Okay. Weight loss does not care about the long game of your calorie deficit, the sustainability of your calorie deficit. Okay. Knowing how to stick with a sustainable calorie deficit is a skill, y'all. You think you just need to know what my calories are. No, you need to know how to stay in your deficit when your body starts to fight you back. When you hear yourself talking about cravings and you have more hunger noise, right? And you don't feel like sticking to the plan. Like you need some skills under your tool belt in order to stick with what you think is just education to tell me what my calories and macros are. I wish. I really wish it was that easy, right? And people think it's that easy until you finally register, like, okay, I've done 15 online calculators to figure out what my calories and macros are, but for some reason I'm still not losing weight. Like I have all, according to what I think I need to know, I have all the education to stay in my calorie deficit, but I'm not in a calorie deficit. So maybe it's a skill deficit. It's not a knowledge deficit. It's a skill deficit. You don't need more knowledge. You need more skills. Okay. Let's see. Tracy, yes, and cholesterol occurs naturally, and some people are naturally higher based on genetics and hereditary factors. Thank you, thank you. Yes, with a quick search on ChatGPT, you can realize that maybe it's just in my family line to have higher cholesterol. Ain't nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. Everybody in my family has high cholesterol. We're all in wonderful, beautiful health. I don't need cholesterol medication. And don't pass me no more statins. I don't want none of y'all stuff. None of it. Sorry. Weight loss only focuses on losing the weight, does not carefully approach your deficit by giving you education and skills to stay in a deficit and to know when your body has told you that your deficit is too deep and has been for too long, right? That takes skill, okay? So let me get off this high horse here, talking about the difference between weight loss and fat loss. Anybody else want to add anything else to that? I probably need to come back to this another time. Okay. With this, what I wanted to talk about today, and I'll come back to the deficit in just a second. What I wanted to talk about today was the cultivation of your goal. And as you're cultivating your goal, knowing whether or not your goal is too aggressive. One, like, can I actually do this? Is my goal too aggressive? Right. And it's not necessarily a question of can I actually do this? It's can I actually do this in the timeline I have in my head? Because you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You actually can. It's just math, right? If I put you on a deserted island and I had to have you fend for your own food, right? You had to fish and forage and find your own food. If I put you on a deserted island, you would be 60 pounds lighter by the end of the month. Truly, because your body would use up all of its nutrient resources because it had to, right? In our case, we don't necessarily have to. So what I'm saying is you can reach your goal. Your body is designed to be lean, right? But our thought process needs to be how quickly or how long is my time horizon for this goal? If I asked you, can you save $100,000? The answer is not by tomorrow, not this year, not in the next 5 years, not in the next 10 years, but maybe in the next 20 years, right? But yeah, 20 years, I could probably save 100,000. And if I think about 100,000, right, over the course of even 50 years, if I could save 100,000 in 50 years, it's only $2,000 a year. That's $166 a month. Can you save $166 a month? Yeah, of course, really. Okay, so talking about goals. Your goals, we talked about goals being the culmination of your goals, being the combination of skill and education. Okay. But first, your goals requires you to be honest and clear about it. Like just be honest. And you don't have to be honest with me. Be honest with yourself. Don't do this wishy-washy, I don't know, in my brain type of thing about your goal. Be very honest and straightforward about my goal. I want to lose weight, period. I just want to be a size 8, period. That's just what I want. I want to be lean. I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want a better relationship with food, whatever it is. Be honest and be clear about that. Because your goal, the clarity around your goal helps us pursue it better, okay? And helps us pursue it with when the distractions come and try to take us away from the goal. Clarity and the honesty of your goal helps us pursue it when something else comes and gets in the way. So then let's talk about what a SMART goal is. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Okay, a specific goal is clear, detailed, and it answers the question why and how. For example, I want to lose 10 pounds by improving my nutrition and exercising 4 days a week. Very clear, specific goal. I want to lose 10 pounds by improving my nutrition and exercising 4 days per week. Crystal clear. Measurable. Measurable goals are goals with criteria to track your progress. How are you going to get there? For example, this measurable goal, I want to lose 10 pounds, says I will track my calories daily and aim to hit 1,800 calories with 120 grams of protein. I can measure these things. I can measure my protein intake. I can measure my calorie intake. Okay. Next, achievable goals. This is where we get tripped up. Okay. Achievable goals are goals that are realistic and based on your current resources and current abilities, your current skill set. For example, I will increase my step count from 6,000 to 8,000 steps per day over the next month. If you are working a desk job that truly does, like I have some clients who work in like a high security government agencies where they can't have their phones, they can't wear smartwatches, they can't get up from their desk. They have a 30-minute window where they can go outside and maybe get some walking in, but from 8 to 6, I am locked in this building, right? So I can't do that. I can only do it before 8 or after 6, but I have 3 kids. And so with my 3 kids, I get home after 6, I'm cooking dinner and getting folks ready for school. I don't sit down until 9 o'clock, right? But at 9 o'clock, it's time for me to start thinking about getting ready for bed. So I'm in the bed by 10, I'm up by 5, so I can get everybody's lunches ready and get them ready for school and get them out of the way. I have time to do more steps, right? We need to set achievable targets, which you don't need to feel guilty about. Feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about what your achievable is right now. Okay. Realistic goals based on your current resources and your current abilities and skill set. Okay. Relevant goals. This is also where we get tripped up. Relevant is a goal that aligns with your larger objectives and values. For example, I will focus on strength training because building muscle aligns with my long-term health goals. Okay. We can't say, okay, I'm going to focus on strength training, but now I'm going to add in, a little bit of HIIT training. Like I want to do HIIT 5 days a week because my girlfriend said this box HIIT class, super strength class, got her a whole bunch of fat loss. Okay, so now you're adding to this soup, right? You're adding to this issue, which is regulating your energy availability, your time, energy, and attention, but also your metabolic energy availability. You're kind of trashing yourself, right, with exercise. And we didn't need to do that, right? We can do what we needed to do with your resistance training and walking. And maybe you add in this boot camp thing because you like it. Maybe you do boot camp once or twice a week, but doing boot camp 5 days a week on top of 5 days of resistance training, on top of, yeah, coach, I added in some stairs. I just wanted to get a little bit extra. That's not a little bit extra. That's actually a whole lot extra to your body. And that whole lot extra is causing long-term issues. Okay. It's making it harder for you to lose weight. It's increasing your stress hormones, which is holding on to water, which makes it really difficult for you to see weight loss on the scale. So you're probably doing more, but then you also haven't taken into accountability the metabolic adaptation of doing more, where your body compensates for you doing more by pulling you back in other areas, right? If you've ever felt this, I want you to just bring some awareness to your body sometimes, especially as we get into like the weeds of a calorie deficit. You might feel your body like just kind of like you don't talk with animation, you don't use your hands, you don't use your face muscles, right? Your body's trying to compensate its energy. Or sometimes you feel a level of fatigue that kind of sends you to the couch for the entire day, okay? Because your body's trying to preserve its energy. All right, time bound goals. A goal with a deadline to maintain focus. Time bound. I will lose 10 pounds in 12 weeks by tracking my food, training consistently, and hitting my step goals. 10 pounds, 12 weeks, time bound. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Here's a better example of a time bound goal. I will create a 500 calorie deficit and track all of my meals, including treat meals, each week for 12 weeks. I will plan my treat meals to occur twice per week on Wednesday and Sunday for optimal adherence to my calorie deficit. I will increase my steps from 5,000 to 10,000 per day every day and will hit my step goal by placing my walking pad under my desk and completing my steps by noon. I will prioritize consuming lean protein at 3 to 4 meals per day, primarily paired with vegetables and whole starches to keep me full. I will monitor and manage my sleep and emotional state to prevent me from emotional and stress eating. And I will weigh every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to track weight loss trends over 12 weeks. At 12 weeks, I will assess my progress and determine if my body can handle more fat loss or if it's time for maintenance. And I will have a plan for both. This is a good focus, okay? Time-bound, specific goals with your intention behind it, with the how behind it, with the what behind it. However, one of the elephants in the room is that it's hard to follow the plan when you don't understand the process and when you allow your emotions to dictate whether or not you follow the plan. It's really the hardest part. Allowing your emotions, allowing your mood to dictate whether or not you follow the plan today. One of the things that I'll tell you is I want you to strategically plan for having a meal or two per week that doesn't follow this plan, right? Have an F meal once or twice per week. I need you to do that. One, for just like psychological regulation of I'm a normal person. I'm not a rabbit, right? Like to break the mental stigma of like being in on all the time. Like we need to break that sometimes. Okay. Stop. Oh, y'all, this is my bread. Hold on one second. Let me take my bread out. Sorry about that. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Allowing your emotions to dictate whether or not you follow the plan, frustration with the process, um, cycle of hormonal changes throughout the month, right? We need to plan for flexibility. Flexibility has to be a part of the plan. Otherwise, you'll get knocked off track when you need to be on track because you plan to be flexible. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is flexibility needs to be a part of the plan because if it's not already planned, you will have to, your life will force you to be flexible and it will throw you off rather than you being prepared to be flexible and flexibility being a part of the plan. Okay. All right, cool. So then following the plan, a plan that works for you is what we're trying to lay out. It's our job to set up your environment to make sure that you can follow the plan on more days than not. It's my job to explain the facets of the plan as clearly as possible and as frequently as you need it, right? To ensure that we're listening to your body and we're implementing the changes. It's your job to avoid getting distracted by Instagram's foolishness, by your friends and your families and their commentary, even sometimes by your doctor, right? Your own impatience and your own emotional state to keep making progress while you follow the plan. Do not allow your emotional state, especially after a weigh-in, to dictate whether or not you follow the plan this week. Do not go back to what you know because you don't know. We just talked about that. Your goal requires education and skill. That's why I'm here, right? You know the goal that you have, and you might have some education to get there. But why I'm here is to help close the gap on the education and skill that you need to reach your goal. You don't know yet. That's why I'm here. That's why we're doing this. You don't know. So don't go back to what you know when you step on the scale and it's up 2 pounds this week. That's not fat. That's not body fat. 2 pounds of body fat is 7,000 calories. That's 7 medium pizzas by yourself. Did you eat 7 medium pizzas yesterday? No, so don't freak out. Your body's holding water for whatever reason. And the beautiful thing about water is you can pee and sweat it out. Okay. What you think you know does not work. It's not sustainable. It's not designed to keep you it's designed to keep you reliant upon the diet and medical industry. Assume you know nothing. Follow the plan. Find new ways to deal with emotions, stress, frustration, and sadness. Take a walk, phone a friend, read a good book, pray and meditate. But be sure you continue to follow the plan. So let's talk about following the plan. I like this slide because it starts to kind of spell out what your priorities might be based on where you are in your journey. Okay. Talking about body fat percentage, not just weight, right? Because you can be 275 pounds and 17% body fat. That's what a bodybuilder is, right? They're all muscle. They're just pure muscle, right? So they're heavy on the scale, but what they're made of, right? Their body fat percentage or their muscle percentage is very different. Okay. So in most cases, if you're coming to me at 40% body fat or more, and real quick before I dive into body fat, you might not know what your body fat percentage is, and that's okay. The mirror can tell you a lot about what your current body fat percentage is, okay? But a DEXA scan or an in-body scan, that's in the chat. A DEXA scan or an in-body scan are two things that you could do to tell you how much of your current weight is body fat. For example, you might be 220 pounds, but of your current weight, the body fat is 190 pounds. This is an exaggeration, right? Rather than being 220 pounds and the current amount of body fat that you have is only 30 pounds, right? These look completely different. Looks completely different, functions completely differently, metabolism is completely different, okay? So if you're coming to me, you don't know your body fat percentage, but you know how you look and how you feel, okay? If you're coming to me around 40% body fat or more, we're going to assume that your main priority is a lifestyle transformation. We need to get you off the carbs, off the couch. In general, at 40% body fat or more, these are our two priorities. We also are integrating your environmental changes and practicing how to maintain your new weight, right? At 40% body fat, it's mostly lifestyle. At 30% body fat, we're focused on sustainable fat loss, proper resistance training, practicing your maintenance strategy, and being consistent, right? This is really where you showing up to the gym and doing your workouts and eating well, like this is where this starts to kind of culminate and form the journey for you, okay? At 25% body fat, if this is where you want to be, right? In terms of a body fat percentage to aim for, we don't know our body fat percentage, right? But if you did, the body fat percentage to aim for, the healthy range is something like 30% for women, down to like 25%, up to like 35%. This is still the healthy range for women. Your body fat percentage, not your BMI, but the amount of your weight that is fat. 25 to 35% is typically the health zone for women, okay? Just based on your height. So then, if you are 25% body fat, so say you wanted to get down some more, 25% body fat, your main priority down here would probably be body composition, more time spent maintaining your weight because you need the calories to build muscle, specific muscle building and hypertrophy or muscle hypertrophy size reshaping phases, like you're specifically trying to change the shape and density of your muscles. And then if you wanted to get down into the athletic zone being somewhere around 20-ish%, maybe 22% and below, okay? At 22%, your main priorities are maintaining your performance, so keeping your strength up, keeping your aesthetic, right? Whatever it is that you look like, maintaining that, increasing your strength and increasing your work capacity, doing more as an athlete, okay? And then down here in the bodybuilder range, this is a bikini bodybuilder, by the way. We can all be bikini bodybuilders because all we're doing is changing the amount of fat that your body has. It's math. If I dropped you on a remote island and you had nothing, you would be a bikini bodybuilder in 60 days. You would. Okay. So then at 10 to 17% body fat, which is really not healthy for women, which is why you'll see a bikini bodybuilder step on stage today and next week have gained 30 pounds. Literally. The bodybuilding is a controlled starvation contest. It is. And so we see these bodies on Instagram and like they look cool, but they can't live like this all year round. And if they are living like this year round, then something's going on behind the scenes that we might not know about, because it is still the internet. Okay. So then at 10 to 17% body fat, our main priorities are get as lean as possible or as little body fat as you possibly can to have the best presentation on stage, and then gain your weight back to a healthy zone. Okay. If we think about this as like health zone, right? Competition bodybuilding is not healthy, right? But anywhere in this zone is anywhere. And you can fall anywhere in the zone that you want to fall. Okay. Just based on your specific goals. You can stop anywhere on this ledge as you want to stop. Okay. But I wanted to talk about, and again, I'm not going to finish this, so I'll have to talk about this the next time. How long should it take you to do that, right? So if we take this visual and we go, okay, I want to go from 40% body fat or more down to 30% body fat. How long should it take you to get there? This is math. Your body is not so unique and special that it doesn't follow the laws of the universe. It does. Okay. The sun rises and sets. It's predictable. It's a rule. It's math. Okay. Seasons change. It's predictable. It's a rule. It's math. You menstruate up until your 53rd birthday, you stop menstruating, and then you stop menstruating forever, right? It's just a rule. It's just what happens, okay? The same thing is true for fat loss. This is a rule, and all you're doing is developing your education and skill set to follow the rules. That's it. That's it. You are just developing your education and skill set to follow the rules, okay? And not getting distracted when people try to plant into your mind what you think you need to be doing. No, focusing on understanding the rules of this game of your body, okay? So how long should it take you to reach your goal? If our goal is to go from 40 to 30% body fat, which is like dropping the scale, okay? The science says we want to lose 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week for a total loss of up to 10% of your body weight at a time before taking a maintenance break, okay? The science says of your current body weight, you want to lose 0.5% to 1% of your total body weight from fat per week, up to 10% of your body weight lost at a time before taking a break to maintain what you've lost. You need to assume that you are going to have to take a break every 10% to practice what you've done. You will have to take a break every 10% loss to practice maintaining that 10% loss. Because if you lose 10%, this is where, oh, coach, I hit a plateau. Yeah, you hit a plateau because that's what your body does at 10%. It's a rule, it's a law, it's a law. At 10%, your body will stop giving you fat loss. So when you hit your plateau, what do? You practice maintaining that, and then you go back in. Okay, so then using a 200-pound example, someone's 200 pounds and they want to lose 1 pound for 0.5% per week. Okay, 0.5% of 200 is one pound. Okay, 0.5% of 200 is 1 pound. 1% of 200 is 2 pounds. Okay, that's clear, right? We're good here. Following the math. Okay. So someone wants to lose 1 pound per week for a moderate pace of fat loss. It would take them 20 weeks to lose 10% of their body weight, which would be 20 pounds. A 200-pound person, start from top, 200-pound person wants to lose 10% of their body weight, which in this case would be 20 pounds. Okay. They can choose to go at the moderate pace, which the science says is 0.5% of your body weight per week, or 1 pound. Or they can choose to take the faster pace, which is 1% of their body weight per week, which is 2 pounds. Okay. If they're losing 1 pound per week at a moderate pace of fat loss, it will take them 20 weeks to lose their 20 pounds. At 2 pounds per week for an accelerated pace, it will take them 10 weeks to lose 20 pounds. Okay. But there's a big old but in the way. This is it. This is really it. This is the math. These are the rules. However, the rules start to change when we take into account your life. Okay. How long should it take on the calendar, right? So I just said that this person who's 200 pounds, let me write it out. This person who's 200 pounds wants to lose 10% of their body weight or 20 pounds. They can do that over 10 weeks or 20 weeks, losing either 10 weeks, losing 2 pounds per week, 20 weeks, losing 1 pound per week. Okay. But now we take into account how your life influences your ability to stick to these rules. Okay. 1, In week 1, as we set up your calorie deficit, losing 0.5% or 1 pound per week, okay? We spend a week wiggling into your new calories. Like, you got to spend at least a week kind of feeling into it, right? Like, I'm trying to get the hang of it, trying to understand like what combination of things I can put together. And I'm trying to work my menu, and I'm trying to figure out my schedule, and when do I grocery shop, and when do I cook, and what do I prep, and where do I go, and just all the things. Okay. So you spend this yellow zone is like wiggle zone. I spend a week wiggling into my deficit. And then in week two, I'm good. Prepped on Sunday, and I stuck with my calories and my deficit through Wednesday. But then I had a girls' night on Thursday. And then I had a date night on Friday. And then on Saturday, I had leftovers. And on Sunday, I just didn't care no more. So I said, okay, Sunday, do it again, start over. Week 3. In week 3, I start over on Monday. Monday through Friday, I had a great week. Saturday, we go on a date. So I'm off on Saturday. Okay. So you know what? Okay, that was better. I did good. Week 4, I follow my plan all week long until I get my cycle in week 5. I get my cycle, and that throws everything out of the window. Cravings, fatigue, stress, high emotions. I'm all over the place. I don't understand what's happening in my brain. I was so locked in, but now all of a sudden, like, I'm soft, and I can't do this, and this is too much. And it happens. It happens to each and every last one of us. Okay, so let's normalize that. It's gonna happen. Okay, but now you know that's why it's happening. For a week out of the month, I'm soft. For a week out of the month, I don't care about none of this. Right? I don't care. I'm not posting on Instagram. I don't want to talk to y'all like for a week out of the month. Right? But then, okay, cycle's over. Spending this yellow zone to kind of wiggle back into it in week 6. Week 6, okay, I mastered it. I'm back on it. But in week 7, I go on a week-long cruise. In week 7, I'm out of my environment for an entire week. They got dessert and ice cream and unlimited dining and alcohol and mimosas and I got unlimited whatever for a week. So I need to spend another week recovering from the cruise, right? And so now in week 9, I'm back on track. Week 10, maybe I'm back on track. But I had 10 weeks designed to hit my goal. 10 weeks losing 2 pounds per week. But I was only on track. Let's count. I was on track for 7, 14. So that's 3, 4, maybe 4.5 or 5 weeks. I was only on track for 4.5 weeks. So then in reality, on this schedule, I should have expected myself to lose 4.5 pounds. I was on track for 4.5 weeks. So I can lose 4.5 pounds. And I don't say this to get down on you. I say this because you need to expand your time horizon for your goals, or remove the time horizon entirely. You need to expand your time horizon because your metabolism might be faster or slower based on your thyroid function, right? What the science says to give you a pound per week in terms of calorie deficit, or 500 calorie deficit per day gives you a pound of fat loss per week. Your deficit to your body might actually be 250 calories based on your thyroid function, or 750 calories based on your thyroid function. So your metabolism is going to control this. Your hormones, like I said, your thyroid is going to control this. Your leptin and ghrelin, how you experience hunger and fullness, is going to control how you feel on your deficit. Okay. Your ability to be consistent. We saw in the beginning in this example, it took a week to get to a place where you could be consistent, but then you had something happen that knocked you off for several days, including your cycle, right? Your ability to adhere to the plan when your life starts to happen, and so on and so forth, is going to determine how long this takes. The plan is designed to get you the outcome that you want, anywhere between 0.5 to 1% of your fat loss per week. But your life is what's going to determine how easily we can get there, okay? I'll stop right here. I've already gone over time. I appreciate your patience with me today. Any ahas, enlightenment, dang, that landed, like anything like that that's kind of landing in a new way for you today?
In short, everything. That's
Okay.
it. In short, everything. Yep.
Feel free to share. What's coming out of this? Like, what are we taking from this? Like, where do you start with this information?
I think it helps to be more like organized that you have a timeline, I guess. Because then I'm kind of just like free floating when I don't have a timeline. I'm just like, oh, I'll get to it, you know? But I also suck at math, so this is kind of confusing to me. So I weigh 230 pounds, so I'm trying to do the math for that. So the 10% would be 23 pounds.
Hmm?
Nope, I don't know.
23 pounds would be 10% lost, right? So
Right.
then we can do 23 pounds, 10% total loss, and we can choose to lose that at 0.5% or 1% per week, right? So
Okay.
at 230 pounds, 1% would be 2.3 pounds lost per week. Okay.
Okay.
And then 0.5%, oops, 230 times 0.005, 0.5% would be 1.15 pounds lost per week. Okay.
Okay.
To 23 pounds, right? So then this at 1% loss per week, it would be 2.3 pounds over 10 weeks
Okay.
or 1.15 pounds over 20 weeks, right? That's the math.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that more clear?
Yes, yes. Thank
Okay,
you so much.
you're welcome. What else? What else? What else? What else is landing? What are we taking from this? Like, what do I need to clear up? What do I need to apologize for? I got on my rant a little bit today. I'm sorry.
I think it also just helps with like the smart to really like lay it out for you. Like I was like writing out my smart goals while you were talking. Um and I think just getting it like on paper helped a lot to again organize like what I need to do.
Yep. It's good. Specific, measurable, attainable. Can I do this with my current lifestyle? That's what that calendar started to talk about. Like, okay, I know I want 1% loss per week or 2.3 pounds per week. However, based on my kid's schedule with the summer coming and the change of the seasons and Mother's Day and travel and blah, 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 am I actually going to be able to adhere to 1,000 calorie deficit every day for the next 10 weeks? No, I'm not going to be able to. So I need to extend my time horizon, right? I still need to be consistent, but I need to extend my time horizon. Okay. Attainable, relevant, and time bound. What else? What else? What else? What else?
Okay, I found something more specific that's really hitting.
Okay.
Coach, I've been struggling with just like the idea of losing weight as a goal based on like social norms and body issues growing up and things like that. But
Mhm.
this really reminded me that my personal goal is not just about weight loss, but the fat loss, because that is the part that the high blood pressure and the diabetes and the PCOS and the endometriosis and all this stuff
Yep.
that, plagues my family and my own body, like the fat that's what's doing it. So it's the lifestyle changes, not because I want to lose weight to look sexy, but because this fat could really kill me. So that's that has really recentered me on what my actual goal is.
That's so real. That's so real. Come back to that as many times as you need to. Right. Like let's really just be honest about it. You know what I mean? Like the weight isn't the issue, right? The scale number is not the issue because you could be this lean and be 275 pounds. You see it all the time. The weight isn't the issue. It's the amount of body fat that we're carrying, specifically visceral body fat that's surrounding our organs, compressing your heart, compressing your lungs, getting in the way of your digestion, making things complicated for your hormonal, health, right? Your sexual health. It's causing issues. And it's also causing issues with your metabolic health, long-term issues like blood pressure issues. Insulin sensitivity issues, that in and of itself is a reason to want to be lean. Insulin sensitivity, I want to eat carbs, want to be able to eat cake and chicken and waffles tomorrow morning and not have any issues with my blood sugar, my A1C, right? So I need to work on the amount of muscle mass and body fat that I currently have. I need more muscle mass, more bone density, less body fat. Less body fat isn't necessarily because I want to be a competition bodybuilder, right? Less body fat is also because I care about my health. And if the healthy range for body fat is somewhere between 20 and 30% for most women, the healthy range of body fat, somewhere between 20 and 30, maybe 35% for most women, right? And I'm somewhere around 60% body fat. I just want to be healthy. Just want to be healthy. And that's going to require some fat loss. It's like thinking about paying off debt. We don't have the same conversation about paying off debt, but it's literally the same thing. I need to pay off my debt because I want to be debt free. I want more freedom in my life. Like I don't want it's a big old monkey on my back, big elephant on my back, all this debt I'm carrying around, right? As I pay down my debt, I get this out of the way. I can have more life freedom, more options, build more wealth for my kids. The same thing is true for our bodies. We accumulated debt because we didn't have the education and skill, right? We've accumulated this debt with our bodies and now we need to pay it back. So come back to this as many times as you need to. Put yourself in this echo chamber. Put yourself in our echo chamber because there's so much out there. And as you're hearing things and stuff's coming in and you're on TikTok and you're on Instagram and fill in the blank, feel free to send me the stuff that you're seeing, right? Like, coach, I heard this thing. Like, should I be, do I need to be concerned with this? No. Or, yeah, like, I like this guy. Follow him, right? Put yourself in this echo chamber with thoughts and ideas and people who are speaking about fat loss as a way to improve your overall health outcomes, not just aesthetics, right? To hell with the aesthetics. We don't care about the aesthetics. We care about our kids. We care about our children, the people we love, and the longevity of our lives. And if at 30, I took Ozempic to lose weight, and now I'm 60 and I fell down the stairs and I broke my knee and my hip and my ankle, and now my kids can't take care of me because they're only in their 40s. They're still raising their children. Now I'm in a nursing home at 62. I'm the youngest person in a nursing home. I don't even have a full head of gray hair yet. Come on. That makes me mad. I hope y'all can tell. Thank you for your GLP-1 tangent. It felt like everyone at work is starting them, and now I have the knowledge to defend why I chose a coach to help me change my life instead of medication and try to keep me going into sleep. Yep. Everybody's doing it. And as soon as they stop doing it, they regret it, especially for aesthetic reasons. If it's not for health reasons, they'll stop doing it and regret that they did. I promise. 80% of the time. 80% of the time. Okay. Anything else that we should spend some time on today? I appreciate y'all for this. Anything else? Okay, cool. I'll hang out for 5. If you all do have like some more one-off stuff that you want to discuss, I'll hang out for like 5 more minutes and then I'll get into my one-on-ones with you all today. I appreciate your attention and your feedback and your, community on stuff like this. And this is what we're building, like a community of people who believe similarly to how we believe about stuff. There's so much out there, right? We're trying to create a bubble around our minds when it comes to this stuff, right? Trying to create a bubble around our minds. So I appreciate y'all. I'll upload the recording. Yes, where we have access. I'll message the recording out to you all. So I'll have to give Zoom a chance to download it, get it on YouTube, and then I'll send it out to you guys. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much, Mom. We love you. We need you. Thank you. You're beautiful. Thank you so much. I hope you get celebrated in all the ways you deserve. Okay.
Happy
Y'all
Mother's
have a good
Day.
Thank
Yes,
you.
happy
Happy Mother's Day, y'all.
Yes. All right. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So yesterday I had acupuncture and he told me to like cool out for 2.5 hours. So I did, but I was exhausted like all day and
Okay.
didn't get out for my walk until about 8 o'clock last night. Woke up this morning tired still. And so what you talked about the body trying to recover and like just, I guess, regroup or take back its energy. Do you have any recommendation for like a B complex? I think I'm just lacking B, to be honest.
Yeah. That's highly probable, especially being in a calorie deficit. It is
Yeah.
highly probable. I think it's a nature's, is it nature's best? Nature's miracle, maybe.
Okay.
B complex. Hold on, let me see. Okay, no, it's nature's bounty. And it's this green one. The body will expel whatever it doesn't need, but I do think
Yeah.
supplementing with the B complex is really important. So I
Okay.
take the B, it has the 12-6 folate. Yeah, this is the one I have. Thiamine, yeah. B6, B12, biotin, pantothenic acid.
Okay.
This green
I
one.
know I'm due for my testosterone shot too. I
Okay.
should have done it Wednesday night and I didn't. So I'm like, okay, it could be that too. But I think generally I haven't supplemented with any tea, so I
Okay.
think that's probably a good call given everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. You have a wonderful weekend. I got your message
Thank you.
too. I'll probably want just a little bit more detail. So I might be sending you a message like, hey, do you have 10 minutes to just talk real quick at some point next week? Just so I can just get to the bottom of what we need for your program, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not
Perfect.
911. I welcome the rest.
Yes. You enjoy it, okay?
All right. Have a good
And
weekend.
happy Mother's Day. Yes, ma'am. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.